But let's go ahead and get started, guys. It's 7:30. It's right on the dot. We got a lot of really fun stuff to talk about today. Got a great cast with me. Full house tonight. Before we get started, just a few little to-dos that we always do. Want to say thank you to Englishport Marine for helping to make these videos possible. Englishport Marine, go-to for your Phoenix, Camus, and low boats.
Absolutely.
We got a bunch of Phoenix boats here around the table.
They will take care of you.
Yeah,
they do a good job.
Great job. Located between Clinton and Warsaw, Missouri. Stop on in, see why a ton of people are switching to Englishport Marine. Andy Newcomb is their latest angler that got the $5,000 Englishport payout, which I believe they're doing for crappie anglers as well.
Yep.
So if it's a qualified tournament, 60 boats or more, and you win, you get an extra $5,000 in incentive money. So pretty cool. Nini's Italian Steakhouse and Catering, as always, they do a great job located in Warsaw, Missouri. And then the other thing, too, that we're going to start talking about, David and Gina Townsend also have what they call Just Another Nightly Rental that is located down in Warsaw, Missouri. Great little place to stay. It's within 5 minutes of Osage Bluff, 10 minutes of Sterrett Creek, 10 minutes of Shawnee Bend. So it's a really great location. And you can find them on Facebook, Just Another Nightly Rental. It's got all the contact information. The ad is up there on TrumanLakeFishingIntel.com as well, so you can find it there and get your next day booked. The really cool thing that Gina is doing, because she runs the restaurant and the catering business, if you stay for more than 2 nights, they provide dinner for your first night. So that's a really cool deal. And they have meal plans, so if you don't want to worry about cooking, you just want to come down and fish on Truman or Lake of the Ozarks, talk to them. They'll have a meal plan for you for your whole stay. It's pretty cool. So with that, let's kind of get into the fishing. I'm going to try not to talk so much tonight. I was sick last week. My voice is kind of going in and out, so I'm going to let these guys do a lot of the talking. But I want to introduce everybody. On my far right, Jordan Lear from Angler's Edge Guide Service. He's been out catfishing like crazy. Jeff Falconberry, no stranger to him whatsoever, Endless Season Guide Service. He's been doing a lot of duck guiding. He's going to talk to us about how some of the ducks have been flying and kind of what the expectations are for the rest of the season. Kyler Beckman from Kyler Beckman Guide Service, back-to-back Angler of the Year. That's pretty freaking awesome.
American Crappie Trail.
American Crappie Trail.
Of the Year.
And recently, Elk Slayer Deluxe in Idaho. So he's the outdoorsman deluxe. So he's going to tell some stories. Richard Bowling's Guide Service, whacking limits every single day. So
In the lake app.
there's no stopping it.
That's what Facebook
That
says.
dang live scope.
It's going to be empty.
Yep. And then Dylan Stocking, of course, from Get Outdoors Guide Service. We're going to talk about crappie fishing, the latest lake conditions, all kinds of fun stuff. If you guys have questions, we already have a couple that have come in. We're going to talk about that, any ice in the creeks. We're going to be talking about all that. So let's go ahead and start talking crappie fishing, because that's the big thing right now, crappie and catfish. Jordan will talk about catfish here in a minute. Richard, how's the bite been on crappie? Tell me, what is the pattern still staying the same? Are these frigid temperatures that we're getting coming up going to change things? What are we expecting?
What I'm doing is getting these creeks. I'm going to the back of the creek, turning the boat around, 7 foot of water, fishing plumb out to the mouth of the creek, fishing down 3 to 10 foot, say, and jig fishing, minnow fishing. Every single fish is real tight to the structure, and there's not one tree or one creek that you get to that does not have fish in it. I've fished multiple creeks. I've been spending a lot of time in one creek, we all know. But there's every creek that you come to has got a lot of fish in it. And,
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The only thing that's going to change this, I was in the same creek today, and it was 44 degrees on Thursday or Friday. Today it was 36 degrees. Still loaded with fish, still bit good. But I'm going to say by Saturday they're going to freeze over. Mm-hmm. So the upper end's going to freeze over. The whole gang here will be moving to the bottom end of the lake and fishing that open water down there. Doing the same thing. Bluff fishing down there probably, but mostly creeks. As good a bite as you're going to ever have on Truman Lake is right now.
Absolutely.
But are you using live scope?
I am using a live scope, and I caught a 220, a 218, a 212, and a 210. I'm going to continue using it.
That's right.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of people. I've got so many.
Sure.
Comments on my Facebook, who clean the lake out. What about the sport fishermen, this and that?
Yeah, you do. Okay.
You know, the lake is full of fish. Today I seen one other boat out, so we're not going to hurt the population.
Absolutely
Yeah.
not. Absolutely.
But we're
not.
getting
I-
no feedback.
Heavy sarcasm, but yeah,
Yeah.
there is some feedback on that happening, and I even had a duck blind conversation about it the other day because the guy said, you know, what do you think about it? And a lot of people don't know, but a crappie's worst predator is himself. You know, a crappie's biggest predator is another crappie,
Yeah.
and there's so many fish in this lake.
Down the lake they're too thick down the lake. I had them lined up on the board like me and Dylan, and we all do. And somebody put on there, "Congratulations, you just killed 1 zillion fish." And I barked back. I usually don't. But I had to chirp back a little bit, and I thought, I can't be doing that. So that's people that don't understand what makes a fishery strong and makes it good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking fish out is good for it. It'd be like a pond if you didn't take them out.
Yeah.
I fish
look
all
at
over this
Grenada.
country. Yeah.
Grenada.
Yeah.
Gets pressured like probably no other lake.
Produces.
And how many 4-pounders were weighed in this last spring on Crappie Masters tournament?
3 or 4, wasn't there?
And a bunch
Crazy.
over 3.
And a bunch
Yeah,
over 3.
yeah, limits.
And it doesn't even have water in it all year. Winter pool at that lake is very
Right now it's
Yeah,
dry. Yeah.
it's dry. You
Yeah.
can't fish Grenada right now. They're out there on 4-wheelers and
Four-wheelers.
putting in
Yep.
stake beds.
putting in stake beds and brush piles and stuff right now.
I tell a lot of my clients all the time that we here in Missouri are extremely fortunate for the 2 lakes that we do have.
Yes.
Lake of the Ozarks and Truman both. There are so many crappie in these lakes. Like, I fish all over the country, and I don't see that most places I go. Like, most places do not have the numbers or even the quality of numbers that we have in Truman Lake and Lake of the Ozarks. It's pretty unbelievable.
And they get more fishermen than what we get through
Yeah.
the year. And our lake is 56,000 acres and
Yep.
full of crappie, plumb
It's
full of crappie.
unbelievable.
Saw an interesting post. You're talking about crappie being their own biggest predator. There's a guide out of Kansas, Brian Andraka from Kansas Angling Experience, that's been posting pictures of catching these big walleye in Clinton. I believe that's where he's at. I know that's where he guides primarily. With, gosh, what was it? 14
14 or 15
crappie
crappie.
in its stomach.
2.5, 3 inches long.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I had no idea that they were that prolific eaters of crappie. I guess they like crappie as much as we do.
Well, they're just like
Predatory
everything
fish.
else.
Yeah.
Whatever's
Yep.
there, it's
Yeah.
a predator
Same-
fish.
Same way with a crappie.
Yep.
A lot of people don't realize that, but a crappie, if it'll fit in its mouth, it'll eat
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I got to go out with Kyler this past weekend with a couple buddies of mine, and we had a heck of a time. Went into a spot. What did we fish? Like 100 yards, maybe.
Maybe.
And it was exactly like what we've been talking about on our fishing reports for the last several weeks. I mean, a fish on every single. I mean, literally. 'Cause I kind of sometimes when I'm talking to you guys, I'm like, you guys are full of crap.
Tired of hearing the same
Yeah,
thing.
you guys are full of crap. I got to see it with my own 2 eyes. Every tree. There was, not every tree had a keeper
Right.
on them, but a lot of them did. And what was really cool, because we were fishing with jigs, nothing special. Lead head, unpainted, monkey milk, 2-inch plastic bait. And all 3 of us caught a crappie that we had hooked, got to the surface, it broke off. Did one of them break off or just...
One broke off.
And we each caught a fish that we had on and got off. I mean, that's how they were hungry.
Right.
They were hungry.
They're munching.
So,
Best time of the year to catch them.
yeah. Now, one of the questions that we had ahead of time was someone asking about just your guys' setups on crappie fishing, on the jigs, on the minnows. Richard, specifically for you, and Dylan, same for you as well. Basically, on the line selection, I think we've covered this before, but we got this question again, so I thought we'd go over it again. This person seemed to think that all 3 of you guys had a different preference on line and wanted to know kind of what you're doing in the wintertime specifically.
For me, I use 10 pounds, and I use a 10-pound main line. I'll tie I put on a 1/2 ounce sinker. I tie on a swivel, I take that same 10 pound and I make me a leader. That way it don't twist going down when you pitch to them or drop straight down. And then I tie on whether it be the hook for the minnow or the jig head. So I use just a leader underneath that big sinker to get it down. You got to stop that sinker up above them, let that pin them down to get their attention. So 10 pounds what I use. Any kind of line. I don't have a preference.
And so mono, fluoro, braid doesn't matter.
I like fluorocarbon, yeah. The braid does not work with that because when you drop that braid down and you got that hook and sinker or that minnow rig on the bottom, it'll helicopter around it. It makes a mess. So it's got to be fluorocarbon or monofilament.
Got it. And you're using that 1/2 ounce weight all year long.
Oh yeah, all year long. Summertime right now. Some of them fish aren't a foot deep,
Yeah.
but you've probably seen that day.
Yeah.
We've caught fish. Even today, we caught fish. The sinker was out of the water, and I used like a 7-inch leader, I guess, and caught fish with the sinker out of the water. Never that shallow.
But you could you see the fish with your own eyes?
Couldn't see. I seen a couple of them swirl on it,
Oh, okay.
but you don't see the fish in the water.
Wow.
The water's pretty dirty.
Water's pretty dingy.
Yeah. Dylan, so what are you kind of the same way in line preference
Or
or?
the same way, 10 pound fluorocarbon. A lot of times I use that 1/2 ounce weight just to get it down there. If they're off, a foot or so, left, and then they don't have to bring it back up and re-drop it.
You
They
drag
just
it,
kinda-
you can see it.
drag
Yeah.
You can see it.
So it's as much as getting the bait down there in a hurry right in front of that fish as it is being able to visualize that sinker better than the bait sometimes. That might be like you can see it on the screen. Is that what you're saying? You can see it on the screen better?
You can see both.
Yeah, I mean, there you can see 2 dots.
Yeah.
Easy.
But when you run it down, that sinker is going to run ahead of your bait. So that sinker's running 100 mile an hour, and you stop it. Say this Pepsi can here's the fish. You stop that sinker up here, and you gotta stop it ahead of time because if you run that sinker down to that fish or below it, you're gonna spook that fish, and you're not gonna catch that fish.
A lot of times right now they don't care.
Yeah.
Right now,
Put it
they
down,
don't care.
stop it,
Yeah.
and let that pendulum around. When you get that fish's attention, you'll see it shake and kind of back up. Don't drop one down. Just kind of pick it up a little
Leave
bit.
it there.
Yeah.
They're coming to get it.
Yeah. Okay. What's your story on fishing line and
I just run just a jig head. I'm not a big fan of running a weight above. I'm just not. I typically expect, well, with clients I run a heavier weight jig head. So typically like a 3/16 is kind of what I like. I make them myself, and it's kind of the same concept. You can move that around really fast, especially with clients. It's a lot easier to get that bait where it needs to be, and it doesn't drag too bad through the water. I'm just not a big fan of running a weight above, and I think a lot of that just comes from mainly tournaments, because I've seen where there's been a few times where I couldn't make big ones bite, having just too much stuff, and I just keep things simple.
yeah.
just a hook and a bait.
Yeah. Okay. A follow up to that question with the line was any particular brands of rods, lengths of rods for right now or throughout the year that is like your go to if you ever really do change it up at all? And kind of what your thoughts are on that. 10 foot, 12 foot, 11 foot?
I use a 7 and 11. That's it.
Yeah.
I use a 11 footer if I'm dipping. I use a 7 footer if fish are spooky, and I cast at them.
Okay.
That's what I do.
No, and you were telling me the other day in tournament situation, you cast a lot.
I cast a bunch. Typically in tournaments, I'd say, probably 85% of the time I'm casting at them, usually about 60 feet away. If the fish is 60 foot, I'm usually looking at about 100 feet, and I'll cast at them.
And you can tell when you've got your live scope set to 100 feet, you can see a big one on the screen.
Mhm.
That's pretty impressive. Does it, I mean, because Richard, you talk about keeping your settings the same all the time. Are you ever shooting out 100 feet like
Yeah, I
that?
know.
Yeah.
Nope, 30 feet. If
Yeah.
I want to chase the fish, I don't pitch to them. I use a 14-foot ACC crappie stick when I'm swinging the jig out. I can swing it out there about 32 feet.
Yeah.
Hit them on the nose with it, and that's a pretty good distance from me.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah. So what's the rhyme or reason to all these different lengths rods? I mean, they're coming out with 17, 18 footers.
Get out away from the boat. I use
Yep.
a 16-footer all the time, Huckabee rod. Get way out there with the guide trip, and some of these guys like the shorter pole. I like to be way out there on them. They got more time to correct on that fish, or if they made a bad drop on one side of the tree and the fish is on the other, you can correct on it better out there than you can right here, because now you got to back the boat up or move or whatever. Out there, you can correct on it a little bit quicker.
There's a big difference as far as how I fish. There's a big difference in guiding and
Fishing.
fishing.
Yeah.
Huge difference. Like especially if you're talking tournament fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Big difference. Like them longer rods are great for guiding because it's a lot easier just to maneuver it. For fishing a tournament, I feel like especially if fish are spooky, if I can catch that fish 60 feet away, I'm gonna do that because they don't spook. Like that's not a thing.
Yeah.
Like you can swim a bait by them and they munch it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, there's a big difference from guiding and fishing.
Okay, Dylan. I mean, are you in concurrence, or do you have any additional thoughts on your rhyme or reason for what kind of rods you're throwing and why?
Just to get it, and you get too short, and even if the fish aren't spooky, you can't pinpoint them as well. If them fish are out there 10 to 15 foot on that live scope, you can pinpoint them a lot better, I think, than when they are at 5 foot.
Mm-hmm.
You can, if a fish is out there at 10 foot, I can tell you exactly where he's at.
Mhm.
If he's in there too close, and you can turn your trolling motor like this and see him
Every
all
direction.
the time.
Yep.
If he's out there, you know exactly where he's at.
Yeah.
13, I use a 13.5 foot rod, I guess. And I'm sitting down a lot of times, so you're reaching out there 10 foot, 10 foot, and you can see exactly where he's at.
Yeah.
You know exactly where he's at. If he's in too close, you're using if you're using an 8 or 10 foot and try to dip on him, you could be off 3 foot
Mm-hmm.
and still see him and still see your bait sometimes.
Mhm.
Back up.
Yeah.
Get him out there.
Put it in reverse,
Yeah,
Terry.
yeah, put it in reverse. Get him out there, 10, 15 foot where you can see exactly where he's
Yeah.
at.
Yeah. The way I kind of think about it, being the dummy in the room with you guys, just kind of theorizing about if you're using a shorter rod and you're pitching to them and they're out 10 or 15 feet, I mean, you're really trying to get it to swing right over the top of their head. And if you miss it, boom, you're immediately pitching it out again and you're liable to end up spooking the fish. Whereas these longer rods, you can dip straight down. I mean, to me, every time I've been out with you guys, it's incredibly important that the bait is right in front of the fish and completely still. And so, I guess,
most of the time on this lake.
yeah, so I guess,
Truman.
On this lake.
On Truman.
so that's my follow-up question is, like,
Go to another lake.
yeah,
Every lake's different.
Yeah.
They like it differently.
okay. Because that's what I was trying to figure out is like, okay, in the wintertime, I mean, for example, when we were out last weekend, I mean, we had to have it right on their freaking face. And when they did see it, it was boom, it was done deal. So, but during the summer, it's like that a lot as well. Is it something to do with water clarity up in these upper arms where it's dirty and you got to hold it still, and that's why it's important to have those longer rods to reach out and just be able to have it straight down right in front of them? Or is it time of the year situation? Will they chase it better in the summer versus the
They'll
winter?
chase it better in February, March, and April than they will summertime. You get on them in the summer, they'll come up and get it more so than they will now. But
These
Okay.
fish are lazy.
Extremely lazy.
So here comes big curveball. So one, I don't use live scope. I've got active targets, so they just want to get in anyway. But
It's the same.
Two,
It's forward facing.
these, yeah, it is very very close to the same. But two, these guys are when fishing mostly a 12-mile stretch of river, so they're fishing one fish per tree.
Mm-hmm.
My way I like to do it is I go the other direction and I find big balls of fish like you go do right now in open water. Lots of them.
Mm-hmm.
And throw a jig in the middle of them. And you reel it through and then 5 of them chase it and you catch one. And then you throw a jig in the middle of them again. So you're talking about just one section, one way, whether it's summer, whether it's winter, whatever it is, or going down and dropping in big schools of fish on structure and say the mid lake or lower lake end, or just like Richard was saying, when this upper end freezes up, they'll go down and start bluff fishing. They're not going to be dropping on one fish stuck to a tree.
Yeah.
They're going to be dropping on 1,500 fish
Yeah.
Yeah, and
surrounding
you
trees.
can't pick the one you want.
Right.
They're all going to be about 10 inches long. Or some good ones, but
Yeah.
most of
So,
them.
You
so
gotta
when you
filter
say,
through.
well, what's your favorite rod? What's your favorite line? What's your favorite this? What's your favorite that? Are you going to pick one fish off of a stump, or three fish? You know, they'll stick to it, and you're going to take top one, the middle one, and the bottom one. Or are you going to go down and you're going to cast to a ball of 300 fish and run a jig through them? Or are you going to drop on a shad school, or whatever?
Type,
So
type
really?
2 jigs on and pitch it out there and let it swing.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's up to you, really. I mean, any way works. You can catch them. The same fish, I don't care if it's up high, up the river, down low, it doesn't really matter. Whatever, if you like an 18-foot rod, you can catch them with an 18-foot rod. If you like a 7-foot rod, you can catch them anywhere on this lake with a 7-foot rod. If you like 11-footer, it doesn't matter.
Boat control is what, don't matter the size of pole. Boat
Yep.
control is the key.
Yeah.
I don't care what size of pole you're fishing, boat control.
That is the most important thing about using
Yeah.
forward-facing sonar.
It is.
We got a question from Josh Bancelli. He asks, "What's your favorite beer?" See what's on the table. That is the important issue at hand.
boat control, and a discussion I got into the other day is keeping your voltage up.
For
Your system
live
on your forward facing sonar with whatever brand that you're running, keeping your voltage up. I got to talking with some guys the other day, said, man, we can fish for an hour or two, and then once it drops down, to 11.9 or
Your picture goes
11.5,
away.
your picture gets not near as good and
Blurry.
detailed. So if you can keep that voltage up above that 12 mark or even higher, you keep a really good picture. And so batteries or setup is very
Probably a
crucial. Whether
wiring
you're using,
issue.
amped outdoors or the drill batteries or whatever, and using good big wire and dedicating it to that system, that is very key.
I run two cranking batteries is what I do. And I run all of my electronics off those two cranking batteries. And I can literally fish for about 3 days without having to charge any, because I run amped batteries for my trolling motor, which are 36 volt batteries, 50 amp hours a piece. I got two of them to make 100 amp hours, and I got two cranking batteries, and power's not an issue. But I like that system too, because if your batteries do start running down, because I've used my live scope plumb down to 9 volts, and honestly I can't really tell the difference. I think it's fine
You can still see it.
until it shuts off, because it'll shut off on you
Shut
eventually. Yeah. But as long as it's on, I haven't really seen a difference, because I've ran it down to 9.6 volts, and then I think it's 9.5 it shuts off on me. But with running two cranking batteries, or just having on your cranking battery, if your battery does run low, and I've done this in tournaments a lot, just fire the big motor up and
Charge it up.
charge up, keep fishing.
Yeah.
I run mine off of Milwaukee batteries. I get 5 hours fishing time off of one 18-0 battery. It starts out at 20.2 volts, and I'll let it get down to about 11.
Yeah.
And then I switch it out.
Yeah.
So,
When mine gets down to about 11.5, 11, I can tell a difference.
Can you?
I don't see the
can't-
difference.
I
I
can't.
just know that it's time to change it, or I'm going to start seeing it, because it'll get down and then it'll start. But see, yours keeps going at 9 volts. Ours, when mine gets down to 10 volts, it boom, 9, 8, boom, you're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, with that, it works great. Get about 5 hours of fishing time, 4 to 5 hours. I get at least one trip out of it, sometimes 2 if the fishing's good. And I just in and out with another one and going.
Yeah.
So it works out good. And it's light. And my battery, the other key is if you can keep your battery close to your live scope, shorter the wire, the better you are. Mine's about 3 foot from it. So, and the black box. So that helps too.
Yeah. We'll revisit some of these questions that are coming in, but we'll answer this one. A couple of these that just came in. How do we feel about trolling crankbaits for crappie? And I guess it's asked generally, but let's hone it in to Truman Lake. And I'm going to I mean, I'm just gonna assume it's a no-go for most.
There's a lot of people that pull
Yeah.
crankbaits.
Summertime.
Yeah, I don't know. It works good.
Yeah.
I did it back
You'll catch
several years
everything.
ago.
Yeah.
and that's the fun thing about it is you
White
catch
bass,
everything that
catfish.
swims in the lake.
So is it truly
Walleye.
like? Is it a truly good way to target crappie, or just
Yeah, absolutely.
like you will catch
Especially summertime.
quite a few crappie,
Get on them flats.
Yep.
and that's the
Not-
time to do it though.
where
Is
there's not a bunch
in the
of
summertime.
cats.
Summertime,
Oh, yeah.
man. You kill them in the summertime pulling crankbaits.
And what are you looking for? Are we looking for bluffs? Are we looking for big flats,
Big
Flats.
with timber on them, like just mud
Probably
open?
probably not so much timber since you're pulling crankbaits.
Well, yeah,
In
but-
July and August, when you're seeing those big schools of shad that have hatched out from this year that are 1.5 2 inches long when they're up in evening time out on them big old flats, those crappie are all out underneath them.
yeah,
And you can pull that. You can cover so much ground. It's so funny. Tommy Scarlett, God rest his soul. He they come in to fish a crappie match. He's a big walleye guy from up north, great at pulling crankbaits. Come in to fish crappie masters. I don't know. They fish 3 or 4 tournaments, just enough to get qualified for the national championship in Grenada, Mississippi, and then goes down to the national championship and wins it pulling crankbaits and planer boards.
And second place was pulling crankbaits.
Yeah. And those fish were spooky off the boat, and they get them crankbaits way out there off the edge. And they were actually pushing those fish with the boat out there toward those baits and catching them. So it's a very effective way to do it. Now you're going to pick your areas, Middle Lake, Lower Lake, the Osage is some good places to pull crankbaits and some of the big wide open flats. But it's pretty effective.
yeah. Are you trolling deep, or is the where's the crankbait getting down in the water column? 5 feet, 10 feet, 15
Pull
feet.
200, 300 series bandits, flicker shad.
10, 12 foot deep.
Yeah,
Just the same as you would if you're going up to a tree and dipping it.
yeah.
Yep.
Truman in the summertime.
I've been beat by
Pull up.
crankbaiters a lot.
Pull up 10 foot
We
line.
cover a lot of water.
They cover a bunch of water.
Yeah. We got a couple more questions, but I want to stay kind of on track with some other stuff, so we'll revisit some of these questions at the end. Someone was asking about ice, though, earlier. We are starting to see some skim ice. You were talking about it. There was ice on both sides of 13 Highway this afternoon. It looked like you could probably break through it,
You
but what are our expectations here for the next week? I mean, we are going to have some heavy winds, it looks like. So is that going to keep the lake open? We touched on it earlier, or is it basically like in a matter of a week and a half, everyone's going to be down towards the lower end?
I'm gonna say by Sunday with this cold weather, it's gonna be froze.
Yeah.
From Bucksaw up.
I think we'll be too. Especially if you don't have any wind tonight.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the main thing. If you have a good wind tonight, it might be opening up where you can go.
Wind's supposed to blow pretty good Thursday and Friday. That may surprise you.
That'll help. If we have no wind, solid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Should be
it'd so.
froze.
But probably, the wind will keep the main lake open, but the
If
fish
getting out to the main lane.
Yeah,
getting
the
out there,
pockets,
the
and
creeks
the
is where we
creeks
need
where
to be
Yeah.
for fishing.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be
it'll be
frozen.
froze.
Yeah. So fishing could be kind of tough here in the next couple weeks with this ice conditions.
Not down the lake.
No,
Not down the lake.
No, it'll be good.
But will you be able to get in the creeks down there?
Well, you can get on
Oh,
the
yes.
bluffs and the
Those
creeks
little
down.
Yeah.
pockets
Yeah.
down there would be.
It's bigger water. The water's a little warmer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
40 degrees today down
You'll fight other problems.
Yeah.
There's a lot more things that come with winter fishing. Whether your boat's stuck to the trailer or
Well, that's
Ripped
a
all my bunk boards off last winter.
you did.
Every one of them.
I was fishing one time. It was cold. Me and a buddy was fishing. We were out. We put in at Shawnee Bend. We were out there fishing. We could hear this boat. And we could see over there Richard on the trailer. I was like, he's froze up. Let's go get him. So we went and picked him up. He went fishing with us because his boat was frozen to the trailer.
I did that last year with my Triton. I was sitting there and it's froze too, and I thought, I'll give it a little time. Well, I'm not very patient.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's been long enough. So I got back there and I just, and all of a sudden, what came? I thought, I got it. Good deal. And I backed up, parked my boat, and tied it off. And I looked up there and both my bunk boards were floating. I ripped them all off. So now they're all tied. Well, I don't have it now, but tied with a rope.
So we talked about it last year, but we're getting into wintertime. It's going to be the next 3 to 4 months. It's going to be pretty cold. What are some of like the boat etiquette things, especially at the ramps, to be keeping aware of with putting the boat in and out so that you're not screwing over the next person trying to put their
just
boat
leave your boat and trailer. Just leave the trailer parked right there in the ramp, and you don't have to worry about freezing up.
in.
Go catch them real quick and come back.
Yeah.
Best thing is when you put your boat in, when you pull your trailer out, come out real slow and let it drain at the water edge.
Yeah.
You pull out fast and go up the hill, sheet of ice.
Yeah.
Next
Shut your
guy
lights
put in,
off too.
Shut your lights off.
Please shut your lights.
Well, not very many people are putting it in the dark this time of year.
Yeah.
Surely.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this in general.
Yeah.
Please shut your lights off.
Yeah, pull out real slow. Let that water on that trailer drain
drain.
at the water's edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone had asked a question ahead of time, and this is probably important to know all year round, especially now, is, sometimes you'll see a boat that's stranded, needs pulled in. What's kind of some of the tips on towing somebody in? How long of a rope should you have? How fast should you be going if you're towing somebody in?
Nothing over idle.
Nothing over right.
Nothing over idle. Towing.
If you got feelings, you go 50 mile an hour. No, just
Not towing. I've towed them in on plane before.
because they're
Especially jet skis. I like to tow them fast. But don't go over idle.
No.
And
It puts so much stress on your just everything. You
Yeah.
don't want to go too fast at all.
And as for rope length, I mean, that's just kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah.
You don't want to get carried away.
Right.
You don't want to get too long a rope because some of these bends in the lake, you get into some areas and people don't have control.
Yeah.
But, 100-footer would be fine.
Yeah.
Or shorter.
Yeah. Or
I'd go a little shorter myself.
You don't want to go too short, though, because then when you stop, then you're going to slam in the back.
Yeah.
No,
I'd
that's
say
true.
50 foot's about right.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think mine's like 50 foot. That tow rope.
Mine's really 100. 100 feet ain't that far when you're towing a boat.
It's
Yeah.
really not. But you can shorten it up if you need to.
I mean, it's basically 35 yards.
Yep.
Nice little chip shot with 12 gauge on turkey this spring.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk some catfishing. Jordan, you have been out and going to town on these old catfish. Tell me a little bit about what it's been like and what you've been doing. And then you also brought along your setup on the kind of rods that you're putting out when you're anchoring out. You've got an array of fishing rods and you brought the setup. So I'll have you kind of show that too. But why don't you just fill us in about how things have been going for you out there in the water?
It's been really good. These fish are starting to school up pretty good.
Yeah.
Been fishing miles of creeks and a little bit on the main lake still down there. But they're schooled up pretty good, so you can sit in one spot, catch 5 to 10 fish, and move again. Pick up your limit 3 or 4 spots.
Yeah. Now, are you having to move very far when you do make a move?
No, I mean you might go 50 yards or so.
So you're just the school moved a
School
little
limit
bit.
with the shad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, where you're down there, because Jeff, you're kind of known for fishing shallow water. You're not fishing shallow water.
No. 25 to 40 foot
Yeah.
lately.
And those fish, are they on the bottom or are they suspended up a little bit at
You'll
all?
see a lot of suspended fish down there, but the ones you're catching, they're right on the bottom.
Yeah.
They're covered in mud.
Yeah. Yeah.
The good part about fishing that deep in this cold of water is if you lose one halfway up, you still get him. He just floats. If things come up, their eyes are this big.
Well, so in lake conditions down there, you're not seeing the iciness stuff.
No,
Yeah.
I haven't seen any ice at all. Had 40-degree water today.
Yeah.
Nice.
So why don't you break out this fishing rod here, and while you're doing that, Jordan was kind enough to bring an assortment of Gorilla Grip gloves, and this must be, I haven't seen these.
Cleaning gloves.
Disposable.
Disposable.
Fish cleaning gloves.
So we're gonna do a giveaway. So whoever's watching this right now, there's a bunch of you that already commented, asked a question. We'll pick a couple people out that have asked a question. So if you haven't asked a question already, ask a question, and we'll pick a couple of you guys out. That what is going on? Let me see it.
Larry's calling us out over here.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. So if you comment a question, you're entered. We'll get you one of these, and then if you share this post, you're entered to win some more of these, and these are pretty cool. I love the fingerless ones.
Yeah, these right here, live and die by these gloves, right?
When you're cleaning,
Whatever.
Cut proof, grippy. Those I use those gloves for literally everything. Steve Ford and the crew at Gorilla Grip.
yep.
They're doing a lot with the National Youth
Mm-hmm.
Fishing, and just a great company, and it's good people.
Then these cold weather gloves are pretty.
Yeah,
nice.
Really?
Try them out.
Well, those might find their way into the Mahoney shack next door.
These are nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are really nice. I haven't seen
Stick
those.
some hot hands in
I
there,
like
and they're
these.
good all day.
Really?
They're heavy.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
And they're comfy. They're not too,
No.
Yeah.
snug, not too
Yeah,
loose, nothing
nice,
like
isn't
that.
it? Yeah, I liked it.
Heck, I don't know if anybody's gonna get a giveaway.
Yeah.
You guys gonna walk off with them. Okay, so Jordan, you're perfectly in frame right now, from what I can tell. You can come over this way a little bit.
All right.
And why don't you just break down what you're doing? Is your setup, or do you fish in a similar setup?
Yep,
as this?
pretty well the same. He's got like a demon dragon on there, but yeah, I mean Santee Cooper rig.
All right,
Yep.
Jordan, then break it down for us. I'm watching here on the screen, so I'll tell you if you're like way off. But if you just
So I run a
if you just
sinker
put it
slide.
right there in the middle of those two cameras, you should be good.
I run a sinker slide on mine, just
Okay.
then fish can run with it a little bit before they feel that weight.
Okay.
But I can switch out weights real quick if I need to.
Yeah. So show, because I don't know if they can see that with your hand on that side. So
Like this.
so you're attaching a weight
Yeah.
to that right there.
Yep.
And is that weight on a line, or that weight hooks right
It
into
clips
that?
Right to this.
Okay.
It's just a sinker slide. You can buy it. You buy them already made up.
Okay. And how big of a sinker?
Whatever you depends.
Depends on where you're fishing.
So
Depth wise.
1 ounce.
4
5
ounces, 2 ounces.
I use 5 ounces on the lower end where it's deep.
where you're fishing deep,
Yeah.
and
Go
where
below
you're
the
up
dam.
shallow.
Two or three if they're.
Okay.
And I run a bead there that protects your knot, so your weight's not hitting too hard there.
Yeah.
About 1.5 2 foot leader.
Okay.
And you don't have to use a fancy float like that, but I like them.
Yeah.
So
So
fish, if we get a fish, I can pull that fish in the boat with that too.
yeah.
They don't slide on you.
Okay, so that's kind of nice. What's the benefit of this? Is called a demon dragon.
Yeah.
Does the
It's got
color?
rattles in it.
Okay, so it makes some noise, attracts a little bit. The color, is that take it or leave it?
Yeah, I mean if it's muddy water.
It helps a little drifting.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you
I
stick
think
that
even
up?
whenever the fish hit that,
Yeah.
and even if they miss it,
Yeah.
another fish come in and they
Yeah.
sounds like bait fish.
Stick that up. Or just hold it straight up like that right there, and show everyone. So that's a demon dragon. I really like the idea what you just said. You could pick it up by
Yeah, I
that.
pick them up out of the water all the time. Them eaters.
Yeah.
It's like a Zara spook body. Is what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one actually glows in the dark.
Yeah.
But
What size hook did you say that is?
that's a 7/0 hook there.
And
Purple hook.
is that will you go smaller ever than
That's
that?
probably about as small as I go.
Yeah.
I'll use up to a 10/0, but
Yeah.
If you had some old Zara spook bodies laying around, could you just take the hooks off of them and use them?
yeah.
Nice.
Some of them don't have a lot of rattle to them, Zara spook.
Yeah.
Some of them do, but just
Yeah.
different sounds to them. This one's really loud.
That was never that loud. Put some trebles on that sucker.
How much
throw it on
one of them cost?
This one here, it's probably about $6.
Okay.
That's the biggest size.
Yeah.
It'll float a really big bait.
What's your leader line there?
So this leader line is slime line,
I
80
like it.
pound, heavy cover stuff. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
if I get a fish run around a tree, I can pull them around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slime line.
And they don't break it.
On them.
What's the main line?
Main line's 50 pound.
And that's just 50-pound mono.
Yeah. I can pretty much pull them out of anything with it.
Yeah. Nice. Now, what are the alternatives to a demon dragon? Just a
2
Peg-
inch slotted
just a
peg
pe-
float,
Peg float.
okay.
cigar float, peg
If you're
float.
throwing around trees, you don't want to use this all the
Yeah.
time. But
You
Yeah.
lose
I don't
$6
lose many
away.
of them either.
Yeah.
Yeah, bag floats what 50 cents.
Yeah.
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 If you're up in the timber, you don't want to throw them all the time.
Yeah.
I really don't lose many of them.
Yeah. Where can you buy those things?
DemonDragon.com.
Yeah, Tackle Bandit, Demon Dragon.
Yeah.
They're the owners of them.
Yeah.
A
When
lot
you're
of
anchored,
bait shops have them too.
Yeah.
when you're anchored up like that, how many poles do you put out?
Oh, usually 6.
6.
If I got 3 clients, I'll put out 8.
You're allowed to have what, 33 if you could,
Three per person. unmarked.
unless they're
3
marked.
per person unmarked.
If they're labeled, you can have 33.
Yeah. That's crazy. Okay, so tell me about the rod and the reel that you're using.
So I'm using a Mad Cats. It's a medium action. 7'6" is all they have. Then I'm using it's a PC Fun Chaos 60 series.
Uh-huh.
That's the biggest bait caster they have in the catfish series.
I always wondered how to pronounce PC Fun. I
Yep.
I just I've seen it.
About $60. So
Okay.
they're not real high.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And they're a 5-3 to 1 gear ratio. 7 bearings in them. Pretty good for the money.
Heck yeah.
Someone asked, and they might have missed this when we were talking about, does the rattle help? So it does. You're saying it does help in dirty water, or when you're drifting. When does it help the most, or where does it come into play?
I would say drifting the most.
The most when you're drifting. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're going over rocks and if it pops loose, a stump or anything, log.
And drift fishing is more of a summertime type of
Yeah.
deal. Right now, you're anchored up. You're looking for those schools on your side scan. You find them. You anchor down and
Yep.
cast. Fan
Water
cast.
over 70, you drag baits.
Yeah.
After that, sit on.
I've caught them this year up down to about 60 degrees.
Really?
Pretty good.
That's kind of that's what
Moving a half a
can you
mile.
go.
Yep.
Is Jeff gonna have that beard ready for Christmas?
Just trimmed her back last week.
Okay, yeah, we got a lot of questions coming in now. Let's stick with some of the catfishing stuff. Someone asked, what kind of catfish are you catching this time of year? Blues, but you can catch channel catfish this time of year. Are you catching many channels?
Oh, we might have 2 or 3 a day out of
Yeah.
20 blues.
What flatheads?
I haven't caught a flathead in a couple months.
Yeah.
But
This time of year.
I really don't catch many of them. They kind of go dormant.
The cold water flatheads usually happen in February and March. Not so much in November. I mean, not so much in December and January.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is, but
Yeah, I don't know why they really go dormant, kind of like instead of the blues. and all
Just
that.
get tough to catch
They're
this
different.
time of the year.
Someone asked, when is the best time of year for catfishing?
Right now, I would say
Yeah.
it's
for big fish and numbers.
Yeah.
the cold water bite is probably the best. The thing about Truman is, being a flood control impoundment, the best time of year is so dependent on lake levels, water coming in, water going out. If you ask me in April when we've got big spring rains coming and, we're catching those big fish in the current, that's my favorite time of year. You ask me in December and January when they're stacked up like cordwood and you can sit in one spot, and that's my favorite time of year. So being a flood control impoundment, there's variables, and time of year is really not one of them.
They
Yeah.
can be good all year.
Yeah.
We
Yep.
had some really good trips in July this year with that low water.
Yeah.
Fish grouped up a little more because
Yeah.
there wasn't as much water for me to go to.
Right. Well, yeah, and there's the deal. There's not a ton of catfish guides on the lake. Jeff is a big time catfisherman and guide for them throughout the year, but he's duck hunting right now. So if you're looking to get in on a cat trip, you need to be calling this guy right here. If you're looking to get on a cat trip here the next couple months before Jeff's back on the water. But it's been overall, I mean, you're saying, good size, good numbers and good size. I saw you had a pretty good one today.
I got pictures today.
Yeah.
From his client.
Yeah.
Because he's one of my clients.
Oh yeah. And he caught a pretty big
Whacked him.
Yeah, it was a 29 pounder,
Mm-hmm.
39
Yeah.
and a half inches.
Yeah. Nice.
We released them.
Yeah. Very
More
cool.
fun to catch than just.
Yeah.
We had plenty of eaters, so.
Yeah, that's great. Now you've also been chasing. I know we were talking about the crappie fishing up in the upper arms. You've chased some crappie a little bit down there on the lower end. What's kind of the difference that you've been seeing? How have you been getting after them?
Oh, I've been Well, mainly trying to get out of the wind with the wind we've
Yeah.
been having, but getting in the creeks a little bit and the bluffs, brush piles.
Yeah.
Big
This
school.
this still your go-to setup right here.
Drop that old dragon. What was it? Dragon.
Even dragon.
Yeah, demon dragon.
Drop that sucker down there.
But it probably would have been good the other day when I caught that 36-inch blue on my 10-foot
Yeah.
rod.
Yeah. Yeah. So how long did that take you to get that in?
Oh, probably 2 minutes.
Oh, really?
Not very long.
Jeez.
But he was in 35 foot of water.
Yeah.
I was catching crappie down that deep too.
Yeah.
I like how honest you worry about that.
People ask that question a lot, and I think it's because they watch TV and watch these bass
Yeah, I
guys
know.
run
I
around. their
like
boat.
how he's honest.
Yeah.
How about
Run
two
around their
minutes?
boat and stick the tip in the water and around and around.
Oh, I saw Josh Jones posting about that today.
Oh
And
yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, running to the back of the boat.
Yeah.
Mike Iaconelli.
Yeah.
I think he was kind of the originator of that.
Someone commented
Set
on
hook
there,
and run to the back.
and you guys tell me this. Somebody commented on that post that he made and said, well, a lot of these guys are sponsored and paid based on the amount of airtime they get while they're on TV, so that they run around to get more video of them fighting the fish. And I thought, there is no way in hell. What company is sitting there and measuring the extra seconds that they're sponsored anglers, and they're like, oh yeah, okay, there's an extra $1,000 for that guy because he got an extra few seconds.
I'd say more TV time would probably be worth something. For
Yeah, true.
Iaconelli and
But I don't know. That just seemed like a stretch.
yeah.
That seemed like a stretch to me.
I like
But
to watch
maybe
Mike.
not.
I don't know. I don't know all of them.
Yeah.
I tend to overthink things, but my first thought is now you're seeing people do this now, and now we have spot lock trolling motors. So just like each and every one of us, we hook a big fish and we kind of turn and we hit spot lock and we can do our thing or whatever. If you go to the back of the boat, then you don't have to worry about that motor up there running. If the wind's blowing and you blow off, you may be standing on the nose of that boat and that motor turned and it's going to correct itself and it may drive right to where your line is. But at the back of the boat, you're kind of clear from that
Yeah.
whole situation. So is that the answer? I don't know. That was
Yeah.
just the first thought in my
I
mind.
think a lot of them guys, for one, I think they go more towards the back because it's easier to land them. If it's a big fish, it's easier to reach this far down instead of being on the bow and you're reaching feet down to try to get it. Is what I think. So they try to go back towards the back of the boat or the middle of the boat to fight that fish so they can reach down and grab it. Is what I think. Because like some of them tournaments, especially like Bassmaster, they can't use nets. So if it's a big one, they got to grab it. It's easier to grab it midway and back.
Well, they usually do
because-
that for the boat seat.
Yeah,
They sit down in the seat.
it's midway and back. That's where your boat's the lowest in the water instead of being way up high.
I think it's all for show.
And that,
And
it is
I
good
agree.
to watch.
It's just entertainment value.
If you watch Iaconelli,
I'm just trying to think
he'll go
logical
all
thinking.
the way around the boat, making a camera guy move,
Yeah.
and he go all the way around, and land the fish, and it's about that long. It's
Yeah.
giant. It's
Well,
giant. It's
well,
giant. It's
Have you
giant.
guys ever done that
Oh,
for a
that's-
crappie in a
that's-
crappie
that's-
tournament?
What's that?
Run around the whole boat to land a crappie.
No, get him in the boat. and land him.
Yeah, exactly. I can't think about bass, and I don't tournament fish, but I've caught plenty of big bass.
I've ran all around the boat. I have.
Really? You're guilty of it?
Yep.
So what was your reasoning for doing it?
By myself, for one.
Okay, so, but
I don't have a net guy to stand there ready for me.
okay,
So I got to fight the fish, and it was on a short rod. I was on a 7-footer, and it was a giant. It was like a 280 something.
okay.
And I thought I had my net, because I always position my net to where it almost pokes
Yeah.
me in the butt.
Yeah.
After I caught my last one, I didn't put my net back. So my net was in the back of the boat.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I hooked him, and I was able to see him. I was like, oh, it's a good one. And so then, I ran to the back and just kind of dropped, because you don't want to lose tension. You want to just kind of pull him with you. And I ran back to the back of the boat, grabbed my net.
So this was during a tournament, you said?
Yeah.
So did you get your extra sponsorship dollars for the extra few seconds?
There was
that
no
you...
camera in my boat.
Oh my gosh. Okay. There's a lot of questions coming in. Let's recap. So things are looking good. We're gonna get some ice. People probably should stay off the water. Coming up here over Christmas weekend and the days leading up to it with 10 degrees negative.
I wouldn't go fishing.
Yeah, wouldn't go
It's
fishing.
gonna be brutal.
Go get me.
You're gonna be moving towards the lower end. And will you be on a lower end? You think a lot of the next month or so. I mean, I haven't looked
Might
at
have
the
to.
long-term forecast.
No, it goes back to 50 degrees Tuesday.
I was gonna say at the end of my deal, I don't know what day
So
it was.
if
It's 50.
You know,
Now, let me
wind
ask-
keeps blowing, and you get back in the 40s. I mean, it'll open back up. And
Let me ask you guys something. So, if Upper Truman freezes up, is the below the dam, does that freeze up every single time that Truman does as well?
if they're not running water, it frees up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
So basically, that's kind of out of the question too.
Yeah.
Okay. Where's a good place near Bucksaw to get a motor tuned up?
Anglers
Tuned up.
Port.
Englishport
First
Marine.
choice.
I mean, that's Englishport and Front Choice is a.
Yeah.
Angler's Port.
Truman Lake, Power Sports.
Yeah.
Any of those guys do good. That's who did mine. Your boys put impeller and everything in mine already. It's ready to go, baby.
Here's a question: when is a smaller size jig better to use? And that I guess could mean the size of the jig head, weight wise.
They're talking about the size of jigs. They said cold weather or what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tiny bait,
Yeah.
cold weather.
What the fish tell you?
So how much time are you spending not catching a fish before you decide?
Do you have a wild scope?
Yeah, yeah.
Right now,
Everybody's
it's
going to a small jig almost all year long. Unless you go somewhere else. I mean, hunters still catch them on a 3-inch slab slayer.
I caught him on a 4-inch paddle-tailed swim bait.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you catching them on there this summer.
Right now for small is probably, if they want to use small, right now's the time.
So that little wiggler that David Townsend is that? I mean,
But not that small.
I
Not
like
that
those in
small?
September.
2-inch.
yeah, 2
Your
inch.
standard 2-inch bait's working really well right
So when do you go to that tiny little wiggler that David makes?
now. When I can't catch him on a 2-inch bait.
Yeah, which isn't often, I imagine.
It depends.
So
I mean-
the August, September, when you're getting to those transition fish.
the fish will tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can't catch them on a 2-inch bait, try something else. If
They'll
you can't catch them on that, try something else. If you
They'll
can't
come
catch 'em
up to
on
the
that, try something
surface. Yeah, we're not going to eat this today. You need to try this a little different.
Most people out there's got live scope. If you drop on 10 fish and they don't eat that bait or that color,
Yeah.
change your color.
Yeah.
If they don't eat that color, go to something smaller.
So it's interesting you say that because the next question is, what color jigs are you guys using right now?
Shad colored.
else. Shad colored.
Monkey milk and chartreuse all year long.
That's it.
That's all you need. Is
Yep.
gray and.
I use a
gray
monkey
hair
milk,
jig,
chartreuse.
monkey milk.
And a
Dark chartreuse
black
black.
and chartreuse. Yeah.
Best cold water gloves. I mean, we're probably looking at them right there.
Yeah, they're
Man,
Right there.
those right there.
Gorilla grips.
These are mine. I've won these.
Those feel really nice.
I don't recall you asking a question to the
Oh.
table.
Should I go fishing them?
Someone asked, any walleye being caught? Any bonus walleye being caught while you guys are out?
But I've
Nope.
seen.
Not for me.
No, we get
Caught
this.
one
You did, yeah.
Yeah, I guess you guys
Week.
had one.
week or so ago.
Keeper?
We caught one. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He only hit stingers.
So when you, if you're using live scope, and these walleye, I'm starting to figure them out a little bit when they're sitting on them trees.
Mhm.
And you see one about 2 foot long, kind of looks like a catfish, but he's up there about 2 or 3 foot deep.
Catch him.
Drop on him.
Yeah.
That's a walleye.
Catch that sucker.
So they're sitting higher up in the trees. I wonder why that is.
Bait.
Yeah.
I had a guy catch one a couple of years ago, 5.5 pounder, and he was wanting to throw it back. He goes,
You out of your mind.
he goes, I said, "Well, you want to throw it back?" He goes, "Well, what am I going to do with this thing?" I said, "Eat it.
Yeah.
It's good."
Yeah. We get this question a lot to everybody watching. Why we don't do walleye reports? Well, because there's not a walleye guide on the lake, or
Too inconsistent.
yeah, it's very tough. However,
Inconsistent.
there are some folks who have moved to town that have been walleye guides in North Dakota, South Dakota that I've been in connection with recently. So it's not out of the question that we might have some walleye reports if they can figure them out here in Truman. They had them figured out up there, that's for certain, but it's a lot easier up there than it is here.
That's what they got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Now, Truman, I mean, the MDC stocks, I mean, they stocked almost, I think, 160,000 walleye fry this year. Might even have been more. I'm trying to
Fry.
fry.
Yeah.
But they stock them every year.
I know.
Them crappie eat a lot of them.
Those catfish, they do it at Bucksaw. They do it at Bucksaw at the boat ramp. And I just think about all them catfish that are right there at the cleaning pipe. Like half of those fish didn't make it to the no-wake buoys.
Hunter pulled. The conservation was pulled down. Some gal had that big tube out there dumping them walleye, and Hunter was a little bitty guy. And he was pulling somebody's boat out, and there's a guy right there going. Little walleye coming out, and he said, "Hey, that guard's eating all your little fish." Of course, he didn't know. I said, "Ain't nothing I can do about it." So he said, all them walleye coming out.
Oh my gosh. So they're not even taking them down to the, they're just dumping them down that pipe at Bucksaw?
No, they have
these-
their own pipe. They,
Oh.
pull down to the ramp and they put a pipe.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
But I wish they would get them bigger, where they got a
There you
bigger
go,
chance
there
of
you go.
living.
Got a little, at least a better chance.
Yeah, like 6
Because
inches or
everything
7.
eats them at that size.
Yeah. Problem is, they
7
are
inches long.
exponentially more expensive to raise them to that length.
Yeah, but conservation, they got money.
They definitely do
Missouri-
have the
it's
money.
Missouri conservation.
They've done really well in our strip pit. We stock them at 6 to 8 inches. Within 2 years, they're at least 16 to 18 inches.
You got a report for there?
Yeah, pretty good one from 2 months ago.
You get a report for that.
From 2 months ago. Yep, thought about doing a guide trip or two after the fall that I had out there. Jeez Louise.
Then the wife sold your boat at the garage sale.
I know it. She made me get rid of the old boat. That's all right. Need to get rid of that one, make room for the new one.
The Phoenix.
That's right. At some point.
You need a Phoenix.
I agree. I need a Phoenix. If you guys want to chip in and make it
yellow
happen. Well, yeah, then we can throw people off the scent of Richard Bowling. I'll be out in the yellow boat. They'll be following me around and not catching crap.
If you want to know where the fish biting, look for the yellow Phoenix, and you can see it miles
Pretty much
away.
just see it from.
Miles.
Yeah.
I mean,
It almost
miles.
If he's
Yeah.
if he's in Otter Creek, you can see him in Bucksaw.
100%.
It's like this.
Absolutely.
So we're coming up on Christmas, and I got some questions about that. But first, Jeff, you've been duck hunting a lot. I just kind of want to get the beat on what the season's been like. Has it
Yeah.
been good, bad, and different?
I'm ready to hear about
Are
this.
are we getting new batches of birds moving through the area? What can you share?
Been a really, really good season. We picked up a lot of birds in October and that one little cold snap that we had where it got really, really cold there about the third week of October, and those birds stayed here. So early season was just lights out. We hit the split for deer season. Had that cold weather for rifle deer season here in Missouri, and had a really good push of birds. So when we opened back up that second weekend of rifle season, it was on. We just had another good push last week. What is today? Monday. Last Tuesday we had a really good push of birds, they were steady all the way to Saturday. It was as good as probably I'd seen it since 2015 when we flooded during duck season. Really good migration, a lot of birds in the area. Just in this west central, here in Henry County, the clubs, almost every club was just flat loaded.
Is it mainly greenheads, or you getting?
Yeah, mostly mallards, but Saturday they all kind of came in and went to roost, and then Sunday morning they kind of boogied out of the bottoms. And there's a lot of birds staying in Montrose. If you can get over there and draw in at Montrose Conservation Area, they're beating the brakes off of them. They actually went in there tonight, really, really thick. I had clients out today, and we had kind of a mixed bag. We shot our mallards, but we've seen some teal, we've seen some spoonies, we've seen gadwall, pintails, mixed bag again, which kind of comes with that migration. But we saw a lot of birds coming straight out of the north for probably a steady hour and a half today.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of birds in our area. But this cold weather that's coming in this week, a lot of the water is going to freeze up. And I don't know, as we've got the water. I mean, we were fortunate to get rain 2 weeks ago. We got 3.5 inches.
Yeah.
We were fortunate to get that because that was much needed for a lot of the duck hunters in our area. But I don't know as we're going to have enough water to sustain 9 below at night. So really it's a dice roll. If we can just get through those 4 days, we'll be good. But how quickly they can leave just as fast as they came in. So
Yeah.
But it's been a fantastic duck season. The weather's been good. we've had a lot of sunshine. It's been
You
good.
told me a number earlier.
Yeah, just out of one of my blinds that I hunt in the woods, we just broke 400.
That's you yourself.
That sounds.
Well, that's out of my blind.
Yeah.
Not me myself. I don't shoot that many ducks. I shoot when everybody else has already
Yeah.
unloaded their gun or I get a cripple or something.
Yeah.
But I've got this little sweet spot, man, and when the birds get in there, it's hard for them to get out.
Yeah.
But guys get in such a hurry, I'll be like, all right, kill them and throw them down, and it's like boom, 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 and there's still birds just. And I'm like, man, you guys, slow down, just take your time, just pick one out, just slow down, because they'll all unload, and then I'll be like, well, pow.
Got one.
Hey, I got to go out with Jeff a couple weeks ago, and I sniped.
Every time you go, it's good.
Every time I go with Jeff, I've never gone duck hunting and not limited out.
Can we go tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time he goes, it's like
it's
a stellar day.
It's the one thing that I'm a good luck charm at, because everything else I'm not at all.
You did good crappie fishing.
That's true. That's true. But I sniped one because I remember you were like, "When is he gonna shoot that thing?" And I was just letting him get out there about 60 yards.
Yeah.
I let him have it, making it a little more challenging,
I'll catch people. I get to see a lot, man, and I've had so many kids this year. That's probably what's been like the highlight of this season.
Yeah,
is having all these kids, and I've got to watch them grow up. They've been going with us since they were little, just watchers, and then they started to shoot, and now they're actually swinging and shooting birds, and it's been something good. But you talking about that? I get some guys that are pretty novice,
Mhm.
and it's something they want to try and something they enjoy. I've got some guys that came this year that just they fell into the addiction now, and I'll catch people, I'll throw the floppers down, and okay, get them, and I'll see them come out with their gun, and then they follow, and they follow, and they follow, and I'll have time to say, you're aiming, you just need to point and shoot. Like, there's no aiming in wing shooting. It's point and shoot. It's swing and shoot. And I'll catch people, they're trying to aim at that duck. Like, there's no aiming. Like, by the time you find where you're aiming at, he's already out there another 30 yards. So, but it's been good. I've got 2.5 more weeks, and Truman Lake Power Sports has put together a Cadillac in my G3.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm anxious to get out and put it to use.
Yep.
We had a full enclosure built for this thing, and it is top notch.
It looks fantastic.
It turned the thing into a yacht.
I was gonna say it looks like a yacht going down Truman Lake.
I do have a master's captain's license, and now I have a yacht. So we're thinking about putting together a charcuterie menu to serve inside the yacht.
So you could get the heater rolling in there, so you can, in the middle of winter, you could show up in shorts if you want.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be nice.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, one last question here that I just saw came in. Thoughts on hand-tied baits? Commenter Cody says he's got a pole rigged with one all the time for the picky fish.
Ain't nothing wrong with a hair jig, I'll tell you that. Nothing wrong with it.
I mean, I think we've talked about this before. Like, if they're not hitting something, switch it up. But it seems like a lot of people are using hair jigs more than ever. So what's everybody's thoughts?
It's what we use today.
They work.
They eat it.
Yeah.
Don't work. You don't have to worry about the plastic sliding off the tip if you get hit.
Yeah, they don't
They
pull
work.
it down.
That's a lot of the reason why I use them. You miss a fish and that plastic might slip down.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a hair jig, you can toss it right back in there.
The beauty with hand ties, if you're tying them yourself, you can make them
catch-
any profile you want.
Yeah.
Any color.
Any color, any profile. And see, I'm big on profile. I'm real big on.
I'm big on size.
I don't care about color so much. I'm more of a profile person. So, and that's what I love about hair jigs is that you can tie them up however you want them. You can make them bulkier. You can make them skinny. You can make them long. Whatever.
Yeah. So they're good.
For sure. Yeah.
Heck for using.
They're great.
Any particular, other than your own hand-tied ones, I mean, do we have any local companies that make some good hand-tied jigs?
What's the ones that Darren use? That guy.
That's what I've been using. I don't know if he wants to make them for.
No. Okay.
He's right here in town. That's why we caught him on today. His
Yeah.
jig, and I'll find out.
Yeah. Okay.
But other than that, I don't. We we tie our own too,
Yeah.
and it's kind of fun
Jay
at
Terry.
one time.
Yeah.
Rock
Yeah,
Hill
Jay
did.
Terry and
Yeah.
Rock Hill.
He's got some nice
Rock Hill.
looking jigs.
Does he?
Rock Hill's
Yep.
one. Mike Friend ties some hair jigs.
Yeah.
There's Eric Massey. He's around the Palm de Terre area.
Yeah.
Hand tie.
I missed a question earlier. Best arm of the lake for crappie, big crappie, and or numbers.
Grand,
Grand.
hands down. The Osage has big fish on it, but you might catch them one day and get your butt handed to you the next in the same spots doing the same thing. There's some great fish over there, but if you want consistent size and numbers, Grand all day long.
Where do you fish mostly?
T-Brand.
Where do you fish mostly?
Tebow. Grand.
Also the Grand.
Yeah.
Us three fish Grand all the time.
Yeah.
Good arm.
Tebow's great
Tebow, right?
for numbers.
I love
Tebow.
right now for numbers. Whew, it's fun.
Boy, you're fishing schools the size of houses.
That's what I like.
And they're schooling up. Are they schooling up like that back in the creeks up there?
Yeah.
I guarantee.
Oh, yeah.
I can
It's
put the.
stupid.
Remember last year
Yeah.
we was putting the boat in and not starting the motor.
Yeah.
I went with you that one time. I was like, oh my.
Take two
gosh.
jigs about that far apart and pitch it to them.
Catch to it.
I don't know how many
Catch
trips
two
I
at a
did
time,
last
yeah.
year and never started the motor.
Yep.
Um.
Tebow right now. If you don't have live scope, go to the Tebow.
2-pole trolling.
Yeah.
Get in the mouths of the creeks and just start pitching a jig out there and let it fall about 14 foot deep.
A follow-up question to the jig question that we just had a couple minutes ago was spinner or no spinner on the jig heads?
No spinner.
No spinner.
Slows you down.
Okay.
I've seen these fish spook more from a spinner
Yeah.
than I have them eating a
I
spinner.
think in a casting situation, maybe it might be okay, but not on dropping situation.
Yeah.
But I don't run any spinners.
Yeah.
No.
No.
There's not during a spawn. People use the road
Yeah.
runners all the
Yeah.
time when they're casting.
But I think that's, for more the retrieve, the slow fall,
Yeah.
instead of the.
Holding it right there in the face.
Okay. Well, I think we've covered a lot of stuff. We're gonna kind of wrap up with this topic, unless we get any other questions that come in here. We got Christmas coming up this weekend.
That's this week.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys have done your Christmas shopping. I still got some to do.
I gotta go shop.
What is on your guys' list as a fisherman? What are you hoping to have in your stocking or under the tree? Another bush light, apparently. Hey, yeah, there you go. Really good gloves. And what are some ideas, just last minute ideas, stocking stuffers that every angler should get on Christmas morning? Thoughts?
Stocking stuffers, that's different than gifts.
Well,
Stocking
same.
stuffers are hot hands.
Yep.
Gorilla Grip gloves.
JB's Fish Sauce Wax Worm.
Face masks.
There you go.
It's a great one.
Wax worms. The little stuff. Line.
The big stuff. I said it last year, Mr. Buddy Heater.
Yep.
I carry it with me
Awesome.
every day.
I just bought one
Awesome.
last week. The
There-
big one.
I saw on Facebook there was some ad for some random company that kept targeting me, like it knew I was being a big baby in the deer stand, in which I was. But it was running a really good deal. It was like $60 or $70, and it was normally $100 or something on that particular model.
Right.
It was
Get the green one.
the green
The
one.
big green one.
That's what I just bought. They even got a fan on it now.
Well, I got,
Do they
I got
have
the
it-
small one.
In the cleaning station, it's great.
It's
Yeah.
great in the cleaning station.
Well, I could definitely see it there. When you're out on the water, are you using it?
I don't use
If
it.
the wind's not blowing.
If
Yeah.
the wind's not, but I have sit down and warm my hands up.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If the wind blows, it will just blow it right out.
Keep it
But if the wind's not blowing, you can turn it on and warm your hands up.
But if the wind's not blowing, it's
Yeah.
usually pretty nice out.
I can tell you the big ticket item on my list was a heated vest. Heated vest, heated pants. I've had some buddies of mine that have used them. They're like, you will never go back.
I have the heated vest, and yeah, I'll never.
I had a guy not too long, few days ago, and I mean I was out there. I mean I was shivering. I was so cold. And, running the trolling motor for him, and he's standing over there just good as gold. And I was like, what do you got on? He's like, oh man, I got this electric vest on. He's like, it feels so good. I was like, I'm glad you feel good, buddy. 'Cause
Yeah.
I got one,
I'm
man,
freezing.
and I use it in the wintertime all the time.
I'm gonna get one. I got a guy that's got a heated sock cap, gloves, vest, and socks. And I'm over there kind of cool. And he'll look at me.
You're
and say-
freezing.
And say, Richie Rich. He's from Kansas City. He said, can you push that button?
Turn that down a notch, would you?
Tosh has the
You say Rich Rich.
Yep.
Tosh has the socks. The battery, they have the same battery as the vest, just
It-
like
it
your extra
charges.
power
Yeah.
plug.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hers goes in the side of her socks. She has the heated socks, and we both have the heated vest, but not heated pants.
I had the.
And you
I
get
had
cheap.
I had the heated.
Really?
I
Yeah.
had the heated coat one year.
They're on
And I
Am-
washed it. Because it said you could wash it. In the wash machine?
That was the
No go. After that, I was
Yeah,
like,
you get on Amazon. My wife watches for these codes all the time, and she'll find those heated vests for $20
Yeah.
with
Really?
the battery.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a.
you can't read anything in the labels.
They're not. Yeah, they're kind of knockoff. But you've had yours for how long now?
Oh yeah, I've had mine for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
You can't read it.
Have you wore it more than once?
Oh gosh,
What about
Johnny just got one the other day.
fillet knives? Electric
American
fillet.
Angler.
junk.
I like my old timer.
Yeah.
That's what I use. I use old timer.
Old timer. I haven't even heard of that.
Yeah,
If you're
brand new.
wanting a battery, I see a lot of people going to the battery operated lithium batteries.
Uh-huh.
The
The
Rapala,
chainsaw.
Chainsaw.
18 volt.
it's the Rapala HD R12 or something.
Okay.
It'll cut your finger off.
Yeah. That's the one to have.
Yeah.
I'd never remember to charge that thing. I'd never remember to charge it.
The best all around, day in, day out, is the American Angler.
Yeah.
I've got one now.
Cordless or plug-in?
No, it's
Plug
plug in.
Yeah.
I've had this for 6 months, and I can't tell you how many fish I've cleaned with
Yeah.
it. You buy new blades once
Yeah.
in a while, but
Yeah.
they interchange.
Yeah.
But I did buy one of them knives, and they're nice to have for my tailgate. And I use it in the cleaning station some, but I forget to plug it in.
If you're looking for if you're in a big time, like to chase deer, like all of us do here, and you're obsessed with cellular trail cameras, can't go wrong with Tacticams, but
Tacticam.
specifically a feature, an attachment for the Tacticam, and that is the Tacticam solar panel. If you're running the lower end model, the $120 one, I didn't ever think that those would be worth it. They're like $40-50 a piece. But I started calculating out all the batteries I go through every year. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm spending a ton of money.
Buy
Well,
batteries.
I had a buddy that sent me some panels to go plug into his cameras, and you charge it once. That's it. You charge it once before you take it out. You go plug it up. Did it 3 months ago. Every single one of those is still 100%
Really?
battery. 3 months ago. Yeah. And so I'm like, that's a no-brainer. Those will pay for themselves in a year.
How much is the panel?
I think they're $40 or $50. So
Do they?
Well, the
What
real-
about trail cams for fishing?
No.
The rechargeable
trail cams
batteries
for fishing.
The trail cam for fishing?
Yeah. What about trail cams for fishing?
That would be
That's
cool.
called Garmin.
I mean, let's be real. All that pole timber in Truman Lake, if you had a waterproof trail camera that you could somehow stick under there, that'd be pretty cool.
Here we go. Somebody's gonna steal my idea, just like they did the iPod.
Gosh darn it. Yeah, those are all really good. A couple other things that were on my list was a nice boot dryer.
Yeah.
I get really sweaty feet for some reason when I'm wearing those thick socks. And then also nice wool socks. So you get,
And a good coffee cup
yeah.
or thermos.
Yep.
I will second that. Wool socks, extremely important.
Yep.
In the winter, you have to have wool socks because I wear these little bitty old, I don't know, canvas shoes or whatever,
Yeah,
whatever they are.
I can wear my Hey Dudes
Yeah.
and a thick pair of wool socks.
I wear wool socks.
I wear a liner, a thin wool liner,
Mm-hmm.
and then the thick wool socks when it's cold, and put my Hey Dudes
I
on.
had guys out the
I'm
other
good.
day with me, and they had great big clunky bulky boots. And I mean it was cold. I mean it was cold. It was like 15 degrees cold. And they go, I can't believe that your feet aren't cold. And I said, they're not. I said, I got some really good wool socks on. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Some really good wool socks.
Yep.
Spend a couple extra bucks, get some good wool socks, your feet will be warm.
Pretty. Oh, somebody says that you invented the internet too.
No, just the iPod.
Just the iPod. Last question, and then I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Someone says, "Does anyone use scent on their crappie baits?" I don't think they heard you say what you
I
said.
do. I do a lot. Not so much like on a day-to-day basis, but I will say I've won a bunch of money on it. I use waxworm from JB's Fish Sauce. It's a jelly. You just dip your bait into it. Like I believe in it like 1,000%, and a lot of my clients do now too. After we've had some tougher days, and I don't use minnows a whole lot, and you can dip it in that, and they eat it.
Yeah.
Just like they should.
Yep. All right. I think that's going to do it. We covered a lot of questions, a lot of great stuff. It's going to be real interesting. We'll be back here probably the second week of January, seeing what lake conditions are going on then, and talking more hunting and fishing stuff. We've got a bunch of this Gorilla Grip stuff, so if you didn't comment, share this live video, and you'll get entered into getting a pair of these as well. So, without further ado, we want to say thank you guys to everyone who tuned in. Let us know what you thought. Send us a message afterwards if you like this live deal. We're kind of testing it out to see if it's something that we should maybe do a little bit more of in the future. So let us know what you think. Big thank you to all of these guys sitting around the table. Jordan Lear, Angler's Edge Guide Service. You can find him on Facebook. Jordan, what's the best number to get a hold of you to book a trip?
417-664-5686.
All right. Jeff Falkenberry, Endless Season Guide Service. Jeff, I know you're booked up, but what's your best way to get a hold of you?
Yep, 660-351-5420.
And Kyler Beckman's Guide Service right to my left. What's the best way to get a hold of you for a trip?
573-789-3263.
All right. And Richard Bowling from Richard Bowling's Guide Service Crappie Extraordinaire. What's the best way to get a hold of you, Richard?
660. Call me now. 660-351-5361.
And Dylan from Get Outdoors Guide Service. What's a good way to get a hold of you?
660-351-4904.
Awesome. Whoever you call, if they're booked up, they're probably going to send you to one of the guys that are sitting here at this table.
Every time.
If you are looking for more background information of all these guys, go to TrumanLakeFishingIntel.com. Scroll down the homepage. You'll see an experts button. Click on the experts. All these guys have a profile there. You can learn about their boats, the equipment they run, everything that they'll do on a guide trip. And it's got all their contact information and Facebook page, all that as well. So be sure if you're looking for more info, you can find it there. If you have watched this and really enjoyed it, we do a ton of these videos throughout the year. We do these every single month. We do fishing reports just about every single day. This time of year, things don't really change a whole lot, so we might not have one every single day. It'd be more of a kind of a ice condition, lake update type of stuff. But we try to have a fishing report almost every day. In fact, since we started in mid-2020, we're almost at 1,500 fishing reports posted. It's like well over 2 a day average from all of these guys covering bass, crappie, catfish, hybrids, white bass. That's part of our premium membership. Check it out, and you will not be disappointed. We have a ton of members. You go read our reviews online that talk about how quickly these guys are so generous with sharing information and how quickly it can eliminate water and put you on the fish quicker.
This would make a great Christmas gift too. You could
That's
buy
true.
a Pro Plus membership for the Intel for your spouse or your wife or your brother or whatever, or your whole family.
Yeah.
I'll be the first to say, this is the only place that I really actually tell exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is it.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. So we got a pretty awesome group of guys here. We appreciate them, and we appreciate all of you who have already signed up to be a member, and all of you guys who we know are going to go check it out.
Merry Christmas. See you next year.
Merry Christmas.
Yep.
Happy holidays.
Yep. Be safe, and we will catch you guys all on the next one.